So I let Mira to kickstart.
So hello, thank you for coming. With my colleague Elmira, we have actually very similar names. We want to show you what we've been doing lately at PIT. So let me introduce myself. My name is Mira. I'm a data scientist at PIT. Also, I'm a scientific collaborator at HUIA FR. It's haute école. And I have a PhD in computer science, mainly in human-computer interaction. And I work a lot with LLM. And Elmira.
Elmira is more on the business side, so I don't have a technical background, but thanks to commoditization of technology, it's getting more and more easy to get yourself familiar with technology. And actually there is a huge need of integrating cutting-edge technologies for small and medium enterprises. And we are presenting KAT. It's not a sales pitch or marketing pitch, it's just the fact that both of us are working in this company. It is IT integration, IT consulting company in cybersecurity, data, and AI. So what we basically give 360-degree approach to SMEs as large enterprises if they want to just give us the play key from the IT, and we manage it and they focus on their business objectives. So I will start the presentation. So as yes, I've had a lot of meetings today, as you see. So I started very casually, and you can see Switzerland in the #1 in innovation, in the rank of innovation. But what we see in small and medium enterprises, in practice, 34% they adapted AI in a way, so which means they implemented AI at integrating, activating Copilot licenses, having agentic orchestrated workflow from basically from small to the extreme. We have 29% that never used AI. If we do the math, around 40%, somewhere in between. So basically they're stuck between pilot and the production. So what is the problem? There is no priority, and we have already had discussion with you guys, with some of you. People are coming to us, we want AI agents. So why? How? Do you have infrastructure for that? Do you have data ready for that? Unfortunately, they don't have it. They just want to leverage the technology to bring the benefits to the business. They don't have any governance, unfortunately, and we will what is governance? I don't know whether people are familiar what is the word governance is. Governance is basically accountability. Who is responsible for what, right? And people, a lot of companies, they're struggling to identify those roles. There is a huge skill gap and also cultural gap. And when the company, they're coming to us and saying we want agent while they are recording all the notes on the paper, it's really hard to adapt something more sophisticated than the calendar invite. And also data and readiness I would identify as the first problem. If there is no data, there is no AI. So that's why we are taking the following approach. We are not running another AI demo. We are starting what is actually the problem. And it's usually start with understanding where you are in your AI journey, okay? It's not going through sophisticated AI assessment with words that people don't understand. It's just to understand whether you have Copilot license, what is your infrastructure, where you are in cybersecurity, do you have responsible people for the governance, for the AI, for the policies, etc. We map the skills. Do you have skills to manage those agents or workflows? Then we run the prioritization process. It is basically running the workshop. We're identifying case studies, and then we put them into perspectives. Business value and feasibility, okay? So for example, there is a huge value, but you don't have enough skills, enough infrastructure to manage it. Unfortunately, this is not the priority. Also, we're working a lot with regulated industries, which means that we need to assess the risk. And only here we choose whether it's low code or pro code. Okay. Then we go to the governance. Governance, again, it's nothing too complicated. It is what is the control, what is the access management, what connectors you're going to use in your AI agents. Then we're moving to the pilot. We are building MVP, usually between 2 and 4 weeks. We always put human in the loop. And if somebody is familiar with AI Act, this is it has to be put in place. We identify what are the success metrics, and if we are meeting those success metrics, we go into the scale, or we scale it, we replicate it to other departments, or we stop it. Okay. So, and let's move on. I have my colleague from business school, and I guess he's already familiar with this. Quite simple drawing. It's basically coming. Oh, sorry. This is very simple drawing, but basically it explains how you need to run your digital transformation, okay? Most of our clients, they are coming with the question, can we have an orchestrated agentic flow? They don't understand what is orchestration, what's agentic, and what is flow at the end. But usually for most of the company is over here. But in order to move here, you need to understand where you are in this journey. So that's why AI assessment is very important. If you are in your journey somewhere here, you cannot jump to the top of this pyramid, because the digital transformation journey is something that has to come step by step. Also, I've already mentioned that we have as low-code as a pro-code solution, but you would ask, why low-code, right? But why we have more and more customers that they are asking about low-code solution? Because first of all, it's transparency. They understand what is hidden behind the code. We are empowering end users. So it's not just digital transformation project, it's AI enablement project. Usually, most of the time, it's cost efficient. So you don't need to hire AI engineers or data scientists. Most of the platform that you will be using, which is Microsoft Copilot Studio, Power Platform, they already have the governance in place and segmentation that is connected to your infrastructure. And you can scale it, because at the end of the day, you are building something that has open infrastructure and you can replicate throughout the different departments. So, and this is the most interactive part. Usually I'm going to explain one of the case study that we had. It is coming from the private banking. And as you know, private banking is quite a traditional institution. And one of the clients was a relationship manager. Again, low code, you are empowering end users. So I was not working with IT manager or the data scientist. So in this case, we identified the problem. At the end of the month, he needs to send the reports. And as he is managing a lot with very rich people, 3 days of his month he's spending on basically building and sending those reports. So it's a lot of time wasted. What we did, we identified what sources he's using. It's usually Excel. Those reports, they are extracted in PDF from the ERP or customer relationship management system that they're using. Also, he was sending the market analysis that was coming from LLM, and at the end he was sending emails to each of the person. So what we did, we identified what would be the trigger. Trigger, it's end of the month, 3 days before the end of the month. We identify whether it's a working day or not working day. We set up the Copilot chart that already runs the market research analysis, and it creates the format that will be copy-pasted into the draft. Then we run the prompt in order to make sure that it's this format is suitable for the draft. Then the information about the performance, the emails, names, greetings, it's coming from the Excel, but now it is a different solution. It is a SharePoint list. And then it creates the draft, and the person is receiving the notification saying, well done, job is done, go and check your email box. So you would say, okay, and what is the value, right? Because at the end of the day, he spent some time, we spent some time to develop it. What is the value? What is the success metric? So we did the simple math. We calculated his hourly rate, which was reflected in X. And based on the amount, the time that was spent to run those prompts, he managed to save 8,006 K per week. I think it's quite a great success metric. So we understood that it's we managed to scale this project to other departments. Another case study was for education sector. Most of the educators, they spent a lot of time on generating reports. They are juggling a lot of data sources, it's Excel, Word document, PDFs, etc. So in simple math calculation, we managed that it takes 45 minutes. So what we did, we built the automation that aggregates all the sources, and through MCP that is already available in Microsoft Copilot, it is able to generate Word document, the report that gets the information from the data sources without hallucination, and teacher receives the notification in Teams. So, and if to be clear, it looks the following way. So we have SharePoint list, Excel, and any other sources. It is connected to MCP, and at the end, you get the link to OneDrive and the message on Teams.
I have.
Okay.
Thanks, Elmira. Maybe I can have. No, just. So the second use case we would like to present to you is more like high code. So as we explained to you, we have this hybrid approach. So based on the user's need, like the company client needs, we choose which approach. Even sometimes we can have this hybrid where we combine automation like Power Automate with some implementation, depends on the use case. So we had this use case where we wanted to know if the comments coming in an email are being taken care of, which means there are comments that we need to change. We need to check some PDF and change based on the comments. So we have two contracts, the before and the amended one. And based on the comments, we want to validate that changes are made. So we have two tasks for that. One where we go through the comments, which are the instructions, and we check in the amended contracts if they are changed. And then we have the second task where we need to compare the two PDFs, the before and after, and see if there are some changes that are done that weren't even asked in the comments. So that was the use case. So this is like a sample of the PDF we got, but I cannot show you because it's for clients. So the steps we went through, first of all, we have the document pre-processing because the PDFs were a bit specific, which means they have a lot of strike through, they have clause numbers, but even the clauses were inside the text, so sometimes they are not in the same format. We have the instruction, they are really put really not very clear, like even a human will not really maybe immediately understand unless he works a lot in this domain. And we have the step 3, which is the verification, where we need to verify if the instructions in the email were done in the amended contract, and finally, like comparing the template and amended if there are some changes that are made that are not really authorized. So the challenges were, first of all, the PDF structure. Each PDF were different, actually. And we needed also to understand the clause boundary, because they are not really like, it was like a template, but it was really not very clean. So we needed to clean that. Or also the instruction were not clear, we needed to divide them, instruction 1, instruction 2, instruction 3, and understand what they want in each one. And then we have the implicit clause reference, to understand if they are inside the document, they are written clause 45, but doesn't mean we are in clause 45. So we need to understand that. And then we have the abbreviation expansion, because in the email, they send a lot of abbreviation, and we needed to create this database where we create these terms, so that we explain to LLM what does this term mean. So we did we used RAG, but also we send LLM, because Azure, OpenAI, GPT-5 have a big context window. So even we wanted to see if how it's doing, like one simple LLM where we send everything. But we did it on like different steps, because sometimes in the comments they say go to line 5 and check. They say, for example, line 5, and we check, or clause 45, and there's an instruction. So we didn't want to send everything. So that's why the pre-process step was important. And then we compared the results, and we created this interface for each instruction. We go and we see if sorry.
Yeah, that's the complication of this.
So what we did is that we go to each instruction and we check if it was done, not done, undone, and also we put the explanation, so that we give this explainability. And also for the step 4 is where we compare, we say if it's authorized or not authorized. So that was next. I don't know. Maybe next. So this is overall to say that even when we sent everything to LLM, but of course after a lot of cleaning, like GPT-5 even had done a really good job. Like it had overall the results were very similar. So yeah. Just to finish, we wanted to show you these different use cases that we are implementing. And we wanted to, like, what is our aim today is that we show that before even implementing, there should be a strategy. And then you have like the use case scoring is also important, and understand, because a lot of clients have a lot of use cases, a lot of ideas. So we wanted to understand we need to choose which ones are the most important. And then we need to prove value with these cases. Otherwise, why would they want them? And finally, to show this hybrid approach, which means not only like using coding and infrastructure and deployment and all of that. Sometimes we have tools also like what, for example, Azure give us, like Power Automate, Power Platforms, and Copilot, and this can really accelerate and give even good quality. And this is overall.
Yeah, I just wanted to add about use case scoring, why it's critical, because now it's not 2023, right? When people were wondering, oh, how to prompt, what kind of tools I need to use. They already know what they want. Okay, they already got themselves familiar through YouTube videos, through, I don't know, Telegram chats, etc., and they usually come to us with 12, 13 case studies. And that's a lot of resources, okay? That's why it is important to understand what is the business value, what the visibility in terms of the technology, skills, and infrastructure, your current infrastructure, and the risk assessment. Start with 2, get buy-in from your sponsors, and then move on. Voila, this is our LinkedIn. If you want to connect with us, you have any questions, urgent questions. I have one case study. I don't know how to integrate it. If it's not something too difficult, we can always consult you for free because you're here. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to raise them right now.
I will just grab one of the microphones.
Yeah. So
So you have to share one, and I'll just pass it around if there's any questions. So opening for questions.
Thanks for the talk. Just out of curiosity, did I read your slide correctly that the person made 8.6K a day?
Yes, exactly.
I'm on the wrong career. Thank you.
It's the value that he would have gotten spending this working with the client versus working on the report.
Yeah, then
And you need to identify success metric. Couldn't be engagement rate, clicks on the LinkedIn post and stuff. It has to be monetary. Otherwise, you won't be able to get the buy-in from your CEO or C-level.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, if you have someone paid that much, it doesn't make sense to have them spend 3 days on something that can be automated, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Other questions? Yeah.
Yes. Thank you very much for the presentation. It was very interesting. I just wanted to, I think on the first slide, you mentioned how the percentage of the companies that do not adopt at all AI. I mean,
SMEs.
how many of them did you actually have in the, out of how many is 29%?
Mhm.
I think
So-
that would be interesting. How many did you analyze or?
Yeah, those stats, it's not our stats, it's
Okay.
public information that are coming from the Swiss admin,
Okay.
Poissiage, or something along those lines. We will, if you want, we can share this report
Yeah,
for the accuracy of the information. Personally, we work with the companies that quite advanced in the automation,
Mhm.
AI. The infrastructure is ready to implement AI. As we are working with companies that they are still use Microsoft Exchange, for example, and they don't have infrastructure to implement anything at this moment. That's why start with a data platform,
Mhm.
or I don't know, you don't have data platform, start with Dataverse and move on. Mira, do you have anything to add?
no, I think
No, I was just curious if they actually took, it's a general registry where they took all the.
Yeah, this is a
company- okay.
general registry, yes.
Okay,
But
thank you.
those companies exist. We
Yeah.
speak with them on daily basis.
Thank you for the presentation. You mentioned that you have been working with some regulated companies. What can you tell about the need for sovereign AI? That is obviously the case with Swiss market in general. And also, I expect you would say that you're acting on open AI infrastructure in Switzerland, in Azure, etc.
Yeah.
But what about the Cloud Act? Does it bother them, or Thank you.
We with private banks, they are fine. They are compliant using a Microsoft infrastructure, and they are working on Microsoft infrastructure. But for example, I don't know if you know, GPT-5 domicile is not in Switzerland, so they are not using GPT-5. They're using GPT-4o. So that's why right now, yeah. Did they?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's why you need to be familiar with that. I do agree with your concern and the question about sovereignty, and we do receive them a lot. Unfortunately, there are not that many solutions that can fit to solve those issues. But at this moment, now we are at Katie, we are enlarging our portfolio in terms of sovereign solution, and we are always looking for something really interesting on Swiss market. But those case studies that were presented, they are Federal Act of Data Protection compliant, plus they are FINMA compliant.
And of course, like if we go low code, then we are still in Azure. But when we use like this, like full application and coding, we can always use other than Azure infra or LLMs and like deployed on them.
Any European sovereign providers like Scaleway or Mistral?
Mistral in terms of the LLM, we did use. Unfortunately, we did the comparison GPT-5 versus Claude, and Claude now is working as Microsoft subprocessor. So which means that they are still providing Microsoft enterprise grade security, but still you need to check. Microsoft needs always security configuration. Okay, I hope it's not this surprise to anybody. But in terms of Mistral, unfortunately, it underperforms GPT-5 and Claude.
Yeah. No, I think we covered all.
There's one question online from Krunal, who is asking, since you mentioned about EU AI laws awareness, what are the common laws which we tend to violate, and thus we should be very careful while building AI agents?
Mira, you can take it.
Yeah, I think first of all, in EU AI Act, there are different levels, so it depends on the use case. Sometimes there are limited systems, not very high risk, and some of them are high risk. So when there are, which most of them are limited high risk because there's not like impacting the health or doing something for users. So I think something that we are adopting right now is this human in the loop, where a human can validate and verify what's going on, and giving a lot of transparency using explainability techniques. And this is what we wanted to what we showed also. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. And also in terms of AI EU Act, you need to understand where you are exactly in your risk profile. For example, taking as an example school or the school that managed a lot of minors' data, personal data, right? So which means that you have to be very due diligent in terms of how you document your the information, what data should be used by LLM, etc., etc. So please identify yourself in the risk profile.
Any other questions from the room? Yeah.
Congratulations on the presentation. I wanted to ask, since I saw you compared RAG with a regular LLM, and with RAG, it made more mistakes, but I also noticed that it used less tokens. And also, if you could talk more about that in terms of cost, or when to choose each one, and so on. Thank you.
I mean, it's not necessarily a big difference between both, but since RAG, it needs to get chunks and not have the whole PDF. So at some point, at one scenario, it missed a chunk or some like good chunks. So it wasn't like this still big difference, and that's what I wanted to say. And also because like it's actually when you get less token, like to pay for less token, it was also this whole document pre-processing part where we really also divided the document and have specific lines and specific clause that really also reduce this context window. So mainly like that. And because one of the aim what we had, because we were still under speaking with the client, is to also go to open source models eventually. And this also was one of the idea why it's also very important to compare it with RAG, and because it will have different results than GPT-5, and also why it was important to detect these close boundaries and lines, and to make even better results. So yeah, that's.
Any other questions? I do have one. So I saw that you presented was it a Power Automate workflow? I'm curious actually if it is like widely adopted or adopted by your clients, and if actually people from the business actually create their own workflow and they leverage the AI agents themselves.
Yeah, so that was the whole point of creating of this agent. How it started with our client. We have this program that is called AI Champions. Again, I'm not selling you this program. I'm just like, try to adapt it to your company because you are the one who is driving those innovations. Basically, AI Champions, it's the group of people who are most at ease with the technology. I mean, they used Copilot, ChatGPT, etc. And they have this desire, you know, I want to go further than using just Microsoft Copilot, for example, and stuff. And that's why in the company, they were recognized and we put them together. The goal was to enhance the knowledge about what you can do more than that. So usually it's automation. Okay, I have this pain point, and we identifying this pain point with Mira during the workshop. It's very structured. You answer your question, and then in the group, as the game activity, you are trying to draw basically this workflow. So this is how we identified this workflow, and then it has build and share approach. I don't know whether you know it. So we are basically building it together. I'm showing how it could be done. As the flow, as you saw, it's quite easy. They are just M365 connectors. There are no JSON or Python codes. There was a bit of help with creating a Copilot agent in Microsoft Copilot Studio, but that's all. So basically what you're doing, you are leaving end user empowered with the knowledge. Then this documentation stays within the company. We're creating the documentation that is published in internal intranet, and then it basically having viral content on social media. Okay, then those people, they inspire, they want the same, they want to learn more, they want to adapt and build their own stuff.
Thank you.
One more question. Can you describe the pricing formula for your clients once using the tech stack that you offer?
Mm-hmm.
How the price is being generated for them?
Oh, you mean prices from our company?
No, not from you. Let's say you did your job, they're using Power
Okay.
Automate for their workflows, and the pricing formula would like to know.
That's why I am an advocate and a bit of Microsoft enthusiast, because it already has a lot of infrastructure to calculate your KPIs. Well, from one side, it has just a very easy analytical tool within Microsoft Power Apps. So you can assign how much time 1 hour of your time cost. Okay, so we identified that this 1 hour he could have spent with a high net value individual. Okay. It can be this, or usually you calculate your hourly rate, okay? But this is how we did the calculation. But another thing on the admin side of M365, you also have AI adoption dashboard where you can see how much time you spent, how much time you save, etc. So I'm also inviting you to explore this dashboards. But as I told you, KPIs shouldn't be complicated. Stick to CHF. Ensure that you beat the number that you want. And if you want some other support numbers, you can always look to AI adoption dashboards within M365.
Hello again. I have one more question. You mentioned one of the key issues that companies which you are working have, it's a skill gap. So I was just curious, what solutions do you propose besides working with them to implement different use cases? Do you also propose training or recruitment, or what is the most common solution that you bring?
I think I will say, and then since she answered a lot. So, I mean, one of the things is go with the client, and it's like customer centric, and talk to them and understand when, and after we generate the use cases, we calculate like the return of investment also on that, and we choose the good approach for them. So whether we go like which approach, And then if we use usually like the low code, the idea is also we provide formation and training, and she also give a lot of amazing prompt engineering formation. And whereas for this more complex stuff, I mean, it depends. If the client have engineers, then we accompany on some things. But of course, at some point, it will be a bit more limited. So yeah. Maybe you can add.
Yeah. So again, it's not the sales pitch of KIT. So of course we do training. So what we do, we specify the industry. We have such a huge library of case studies. So understand what would be the best case to use Excel, etc., etc. But for you guys, as you are here to learn, but not to go and buy the services of KIT at the end, if you want, you're welcome. I will invite you to leverage any available sources, datacamp.com, LinkedIn Learn, YouTube. There are so many great YouTubers that they're providing crash course on Copilot, Power Apps, Power Automate, Copilot Studio, Explore AI Foundry, which is now it's one of the things where you can build as workflows, low code and pro code, and it has already the governance in it. I'll talk a lot about Microsoft because we are familiar with that, and it has already all the infrastructure for the governance, for the security, for the developments, etc., etc. But there are so many resources.
Any other questions here? Yes.
I bounce on his last question, the one that you confused with. So how do you measure, calculate your fees for a customer? On what basis? Because like all the cases are more or less different.
Yeah.
And so what's the main?
Well, we
by
need to
hours,
define
packages,
KPIs in general, so it depends on the use case. Some metrics will be also based on functional and use case, like usefulness also, and some cases will be more business. So on the, for example, more on my side, we calculate, for example, the error rates, accuracy, recall, and we calculate also user experience metrics like that. And on the business, maybe.
Yeah. So again, we already have estimation. Okay, that will take 3 days, 5 days. It's just dev time, right? But then you need to run the workshop, then dev time, then integration, testing, evaluation, and integration. But that's why they are hiring us, right? Because we can calculate for something really like silly that would cost them 50K, and we had those cases, and we just understand that it will cost them what. That was the case with all the development. It would have costed them 180,000, but like the value out of it, it's one will never cover those expenses. So we're very transparent with them. You would rather to have something off the shelf. That's why build and buy. It's very important to understand. So when somebody is coming to us, we identify the problem, what problem we are solving, how much time it's going to take. Okay, 3 days out of the relationship manager, that's a lot of time, it's a huge opportunity cost, okay? And that's why we are choosing something that would be not too expensive, and with that everything stays within M365, that makes the development quite easy, which means integration quite easy, smaller time, higher ROI, win-win for everybody. You see, that's why we put everything into perspective, into the dimension: value, feasibility, and risk.
But also, like, a lot of things come qualitatively while speaking with the client. We ask these
So
questions.
you audit for a while, for a few days.
I mean,
and then you come back with
it's not like a
with the
full
invoice.
audit like for many days, but more like speaking directly with the client and asking them how much time what they are doing, what is the problem, how much time it's taking. Maybe they can show us. We can go for like, for example, one client we go for 1 day. We spend
The whole day.
to get a sense of what they're doing and to understand.
And then you calculate how much you could make them save justify.
Yeah, and
whatever
calculating the
price.
dev time, and we make the decision because they are also hiring us to understand what are how we can prioritize all these cases. Voila, that's why we run the first process, understanding where they are, do the assessment, prioritization, what are the case studies, and if they have already case studies, what is the where we put them into the metrics.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. I just wanted people, I don't know if you're behind, but I just wanted to know how can you identify when you need to escalate the agentic solution? Because as you mentioned, I work in a Microsoft environment, so you have like a Copilot predefined solutions, you have SharePoint agents, you have ad hoc agents that you can create, and you have the Copilot Studio, which is, I understand, I didn't get there, but I understand it's a more advanced solution. But how can you identify when you need to get out from that do-it-yourself environment and you need like a specialized help to level up the agentic solution that you need?
I think we need to put the glossary in place, right? So what we have, what we showed,
It's a perfect actually example because
but Mira has what Mira created showed it's agentic, right? Because you have multiple layers within one application. What you have, it is a personal use automation, right? I guess. I don't know whether you're going to use the solution where two agents speaking to each other, etc. Here you need to always put the human in the loop, but you need to understand it is for your personal use. If it's only for your personal use, it stays in your in your environment. Usually it's like a default environment. If you understand that it's something that brings value to the company, it could be scaled to, for example, one relationship manager. Now the whole floor of those relationship manager, they are going to use this agent. So in this case, the whole thing on the admin side is changing. So this agent is allocated to the group within your company, and Mira, Elmira, Alexandra are getting access to this agent. You see, so that's why those information that is going to scan and have access will inherit the same access as Mira, Elmira, and Alexandra, you see? So you need to understand who, or again, what problem it solves. Is it yours or your company or group of people? And then you scale it. And another thing, when you are scale it versus kill it, this is where success metrics coming in place, okay? This relationship manager understood, oh my God, I'm saving so much time. I have this through 3 days to kill and speak with my clients. So he's sharing this information. So everything is good, no errors, and you have all this information within Power App Admin. And then he is bringing it to IT usually, and they are identifying what group of people. Usually it's a smaller one. They are having access to the same automation. Again, it has the test usually for 2 weeks. And then if success metrics hit the level, the benchmark, you scale it to another one. But it involves more of the stakeholder in this case. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, because I was referring more to the pain point, right? You mentioned that you need to identify the pain point, then the workflow, and then the solution, right? So for me, it was like how complex needs to be the pain point. Because, for example, I'm developing a AI agent that it's about benchmarking and fast answer to questions, because we are working in 3 different regions, and it's not easy to communicate with Kuala Lumpur or with Americas, etc. So through this AI agent, through SharePoint, we can share the AI agent, and we can easily have like benchmarks and these questions that when there's no time availability. So that for me, it's a do-it-yourself solution. I don't need to hire a company
Okay.
to do that.
Yeah. Totally. In this case, I would, if you have, again, you need to understand where you are in terms of technology, people, and culture. If you understand that in terms of technology, you have it, so Microsoft Suite provides you all the technology. If in terms of the skills, you understand how to build it, how to integrate it, how to secure it, how to govern it. If you cover those skills, go for it. But don't forget about security, governance, and integration.
Because security is a big thing, right?
Yes.
If you don't have specialized knowledge, you cannot foresee what can come.
Mhm.
And leaking information is very dangerous.
Exactly. That's why all this digital transformation project, it's not only one person who is driving it. That's why it's a bottom-up and top-down approach. In this case, the initiative comes from you. You bring the solution, but involve other stakeholders, right? Legal department, compliance, IT, etc. Don't make it too complicated, but make sure that you involve all the stakeholders.
I'm just wondering, once you've created a solution and it's been decided it's going to scale, do you also offer the training, and do you have any resistance?
I didn't hear you.
Training.
Once you've created a solution and it's going to scale,
Mhm.
do you also offer the training, and do you have any resistance to the use of the
Yes, so that's why we have this build and share, as I said. So we empower one end user. Everything is documented. It's shared on internal communication. Usually it's part of, let's call it like digital transformation, like AI rollout program. So communication team already taking care of the sharing this information on internal communication. There are some trainings are coming. A lot of companies, they put into place mandatory training on AI foundation, AI security, compliance, and whatever. So there are some stuff already happening. But if we see that there are some special training needed, we of course provide it. But usually we build it this way, so everything is already ready to onboard new users.
All right, we're going to stop the question here. Thank you again so much for the presentation and all the answers.